Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
In our game, we play with our heart.
Welcome back to Aviva Stadium. It is Houston, Texas, Space City. John Broker, joined by Pat Clifton. 2 more games today in the stadium, as well as on field number 1. And this one, the Pacific Coast is going to take on the Southeast in this big matchup. Pat, exciting one coming.
Yeah, for sure. It's our first look at the Southeast Bears here today. First time we've had them on the call. Quite a few Queens players. A very good program down there, making it all the way to the semifinals in NCR's Division I this last fall. Tennessee, Lander, Auburn, Belmont Abbey. Some really good programs represented there. Excited to get our eyes on them.
In white, going to be kicking off, running from right to left on your screen is going to be the Pacific Coast, the Grizzlies taking on the Bears. Pat, I was leaving that joke for you, the Grizzlies versus the Bears. You said it just a couple of minutes ago. But that is what we have coming up here. 2 more games today. We'll get you their records. People looking good. Underway we are at Pacific Coast. Kyle Jackson kicking that one off over at the Bears' heads. The Bears obviously in the the blue, purple, and white there, running from left to right on your screen. And yes, Queens players, runner-up in NCR D1 playing in this one. Good coaching staff there. Lots of great players. We're going to bring you all of this action coming up. It's the first thing we're going to have here is a Southeast Bears lineout. And they've taken that one down clean outside the 22. Off they move. Little bobbled ball there. Pacific Coast growing into the weekend here. Lots of phenomenal players out here. Good challenge for them. Southeast, a continually improving part of the country rugby-wise. Schools like Lander and Queens, very important to that. Southeast Bears launch one forward through Thomas Mussey. Also the junior from Lander, Paraguayan native. Little step coming around the back here from Devon McGee. McGee puts a pass away. Here come the Grizzlies. Not releasing, however, so we're going to come back. It's going to be Southeast, and they've gone quick. Referee says, no, you got to play that one. That's what you try to do, and that's Marshall Frank taking the ball forward. A little Pass from Mussey. They're looking for some space there, the Bears. They are across midfield. Good work here. A little chip up over the top, making them work for it. Ball goes back, winds up into the hands of Naranjo, playing a fullback. He is a multi-talented player. We've seen him a bit at scrum half as well.
Correction coming in from the Godfather himself, Steve Cohen. Queens actually lost in the final of NCR's Division I to Brown.
Yeah, I said that.
You go wrong? You were on that call, John. I mean,
I called that game, so yeah, I thought I remembered it. A little chippy. 10 yellow cards and a red. So it was a hallmark game, a card for every occasion. As that one gets pushed downfield, it is going to be... Go ahead.
Wow. I was going to make a joke about how championship games, they give you souvenir yellow cards, so you actually have to have 10 on hand. It's a nice touch from NCR branded souvenir cards.
Yes, yes. That's both these teams 2-0, Pat, by the way. Our third game of the day here. So a lot to play for. Southeast looking strong. Southeast 19-12 over the Independence White, and then 14-13 over the Tri-State Foundry. But knocked that one on. It's going to be Pacific Coast ball. One of these teams most likely go through 3-0, 1-2-1, unless there's a draw.
Southeast, as you mentioned, not traditionally the strongest region in the world for college rugby. It used to be just that Life University was kind of an island when it came to daily training environments, but now there's a bunch. We mentioned Queens, we mentioned Lander, there's Belmont Abbey, there's Rio Grande represented in this team as well.
Yeah, there's some great players south and across the board. Lots of high school rugby in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida as well. So a lot of growth in the South. St. Thomas going to be another full-time university in the Miami area, coached by Gavin McLeavy. And that's Milan Van Wyck. Launches one downfield and finds touch.
Something tells me Gavin's going to bring in a lot of Milan Van Wicks. Spent a lot of time working in the industry as a recruiter, bringing overseas players to American universities, and now he's got his own program to do that for.
Yeah, he certainly does. I do a bit of work with him down in Rugby America's North and the Caribbean countries, so there's some good connections there. But as well, the Miami area youth rugby is heavily Uruguayan and Argentinian, so he may get some pathways there as well. As the Pacific Coast Grizzlies, we'll just keep going on what we have here. Preston James barrels his way across midfield. Quickly they go again, get the ball up in the hands. They're awaiting number 5. I don't know the number on him, so can't give you the name, unfortunately. Ball comes across here. Southeast has taken that one away, and Luke Teixeira takes that one down. So the runner's off to that right-hand side. They're going to launch one back this way. Naranjo looking for a runner. Naranjo finds a runner. That should be Chase Basson. Electric so far. Naranjo moves that one quickly. Jackson. And Lalose in the number 10 slot for this game. Takes a hold of that one. Oh, it gets back in the hands of Mussey. Mussey finds a break there. He's across the 40-meter line. The Lander player spills that one forward. However, referee didn't seem to spot it. Looked like it went forward of his hand to me, but better place than I am. Marshall Frank, the big unit. Grad student, 5'8", 275, rumbled his way to the 40-meter line. McLean digging that one out. It's Mussey. Looking for a runner on the back, a little isolated, going to have to keep his feet. Good work coming in there, and players cleared off, but a penalty against the Pacific Coast here. One of the Bears is going to be taken off the field.
It's like Kyle Van Niekerk, the open side flanker from Queens. It's a big loss if he comes off, but he's trying to stay on. They're going to let him, so I think he's okay. Just walking a little gingerly back to the middle of the field to do some more of the yeoman's work, wearing that 7 on his back. tell you, the standard has really improved as the day has gone on. Called our first game with the Pacific Coast Grizzlies at 9 a.m. locally in Houston. That was 7 a.m. their time back on the West Coast. And it seems like night and day here. The handling has come up, the awareness, the connectivity across the pitch. Standard of rugby is really fun to watch right now.
Certainly is getting better. Get better tomorrow as well as we get into sort of the knockout rounds for all of these teams. Movement coming around is Marshall Frank ready to put his wing right on the 22. Rowan Shawver at the front there. All up for the Bears. They're looking for a maul, but it gets spilled back into the Pacific Coast Grizzlies' hands. A little sideways run coming from Valance there. And 5, Connor Kelly. For some reason, there's on my list. Had to look back into the notes here. Takes that one. Little spin around for Von Wick. Von Wick working his way through a forest of Bears defenders. Short pass coming in. Big tackle from Rowan Shawver, the Queen's University player, engineering physics major. Off come the Grizzlies, not making much ground here. Looking for a big break, but not getting it. Might want to opt for the kick here. Endela Lose calling for the ball. Endela Lose is going to keep running this one. And the Pacific Coast Grizzlies content to go through the phases inside their own 22 and eventually draw the penalty there. Player not releasing for the Southeast. Opportunity to push this one downfield.
Good patient defense there from the Pacific Coast. Under a lot of pressure from the Southeast. Able to subside that, withstand it, just stay patient, make your tackles, force the turnover, eventually force the Southeast into a mistake, and now you can clear your lines. A little bit of space. Last time Milan Van Wyck touched the ball, he was surrounded by about 5 Southeast Bears, his immediate area. And now you've got 20 meters at least between your back line and theirs. Let's see if you can give them some space to work with.
Player for the Southeast just being attended to here at Aviva Stadium. Wait for him to get attended to, and then we'll come back up. In the other's pool, so both these times, teams 2-0, so this is a big decider. Independence Red 2-0 in the other, in Pool A. Midwest and Great Lakes are 1-1, and Mid-Atlantic Sharks, Thunder Sharks, are 0-2. Endela Lose moves that ball to Von Wick. He gets a rushing defense coming at him. McGee working hard here. Ball out to the wing. Basson, the Legion U23 player from the San Diego area. Draws a penalty there against Mussey. Another opportunity here for Pacific Coast. Von Wick is going to kick this one downfield for his teammates.
Really good job there by the Grizzlies, getting that ball out under immense pressure. It was Travion Reed leading the blitz from the outside in on that back line on that last line-out play. And they were able to just sneak the pass out just barely before the pressure made contact. And themselves another attacking opportunity.
McAlarnon here from CSU Maritime. Marine Transportation major. Gets that ball in, but it comes to a penalty and a knock-on there against Pacific Coast. So the Southeast Bears going to push this one downfield through Mussey. Mussey is not going to find touch, however. Push back onto it, Naranjo. Naranjo decides he's going to have a run. He was happy to have a run from anywhere. A penalty for a player coming off their feet there. Referee says, let's hold up. Maybe a card coming here.
Fortuitous turn of events there for Southeast. Didn't waste any time on that penalty. Punted it, went very aggressively, missed touch by a solid 20-plus meters. And now you get a penalty. It's actually kickable potentially just outside the 22. Or you could punt this thing up and get yourself a point-blank line out if you like.
Referee's still having a discussion here about the player coming off the ground or coming off their feet. There might be a card coming, but shall see. And indeed there is. Bassan will take a little bit of a breather here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. One less player on the field for the Bears to deal with. Looks like we're going to push this one towards the corner.
Bassan, such a good athlete. He's forced his way onto this all-star team and into the starting lineup for the Pacific Coast, even though this is his first year ever playing rugby. We saw him make kind of a rookie mistake in the game earlier for the Grizzlies, not touching the ball down and knocking on just before. He had the plenty of opportunity to slide it in, but decided to try and center it. And here, picking up a penalty and looking a little confused what it's for, and it's going to cost him a few minutes on the bench.
Marshall Frank good with that one. The drive forward coming from the Southeast Bears. Southeast Bears, Marshall Frank gets a hold of it, but a wrestling match against Seth Valance. Again, they work towards the line. The Southeast Bears 2 meters out, screaming forward is Bazarian at the back. A big pile of bodies head off one way. Marshall Frank at the back, not going to take a hold of this one, but over the line they go. Try awarded. Southeast Bears look very pleased. We'll see who that was. Great try. 5 points to the good, Southeast.
Bears team coming out hot, coming out aggressive. And these forwards didn't have much distance to go. They just screwed the ball down tight, picked it up. Sideways is okay as long as you get that couple meters, break the gain line, and find the try zone. That's exactly what the Southeast Bears did here and take the early lead over the probably favored Pacific Coast Grizzlies.
And that Chester Stanion from Queen's University seemed to want to touch that down from Brighton in the UK. Many Queen's University of Charlotte representatives on this team. Southeast coached by Tyree Reed from Queens and Nick Withrow from Belmont Abbey. Mussy Paraguayan national team player. Add to your international collection there, Pat.
Jotting it down, Paraguay.
Slots that one. Maybe playing in is it Super Rugby Americas? Is that what the league is now?
That's right. We've got a rival competition. We've got Major League Rugby, which is, I think it's a dozen or 13 teams. I can't keep track anymore these days. With Chicago coming into the fold and Austin, LA falling off. But that's our all-domestic competition. And now Super Rugby Americas. You got the American Raptors as the U.S. team playing against pseudo-national teams from all the South American usuals. Interesting landscape for sure.
Certainly is. Things changing in an interesting way. Stanion takes the ball right away. Southeast Bears up by 7. Marshall Frank does a little bit of the hokey pokey. Drives himself forward there. Little show and go coming from the Bears. Bears on the attack just inside the 40-meter line of this Pacific Coast Grizzlies team, driving towards the line as they can. Looking to pick this one up there is McLean. Wide pass, little step there for the Bears. Bears turn that one over. Put that in the hands of Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson, Sam Houston State student. It's that. Ball comes down. Penalty eventually against the Bears for not releasing. Be a Pacific Coast Grizzlies penalty here at the 40-meter line.
Grizzlies, you got to think they're going to go for the corner here. Lineouts have been a bit adventurous for them so far today, but this is too appetizing an opportunity. Great kick from Van Wyck, gets him inside the 22. So whether they put them all on here, they've got a line set play, or just give the ball to 12 in space and see what he does. All those are good options, and as long as they can haul this line out in, you get clean ball away from it. Be a big
Southeast has some big beef in this line out here, so the mauling option be a little bit challenging. Not saying out of the realm of possibility, but see where they decide to go, as they're not going to get that line out. It's going to get tipped back to the Southeast Bears. Big hit comes in high. They're going to have a penalty against Pacific Coast. So Southeast getting away with it for the moment. 16 and a half minutes gone in this 20-minute half.
Cannot take lineouts for granted. It's usually one of the more high percentage wins for the team putting the ball in when you get to the higher levels of rugby. But here in All-Star Rugby, when these teams are just getting to know each other, a lot of moving parts, cannot take them for granted at all.
Attempt there by Naranjo to move that one infield a little quicker than his players are ready for. We're going to have a scrum here to the Southeast Bears, just outside of their own 40-meter line.
Really impressed with this tournament. It's come together and grown a lot since they brought it back. The concept of breaking the country up into regions and systematically combing it for the best talent, putting them out here to develop and play against each other, to be identified and to have a great, rich rugby experience. It's been awesome to see.
Little chip forward there from Mussey. Finds some space. Very intelligently played. Mdalalose comes up with it. Mdalalose moves that ball across. Gets it. The name was hands, but hauled into touch. So it's going to be Southeast ball here. Just about 18 minutes gone in this first half, but 2 minutes to go.
Really impressed with Southeast here. I think they've controlled the momentum. They've kind of controlled the point of contact. They've been the ones spending most of the time in the attacking end.
Southeast comes down with this inside their own 50. They're looking for the starter play, driving forward. Across the 50-meter line they go. Runners either direction. An attack to the right. Nice line coming in there from Trevion Reed. Ball slips forward eventually. Forward pass. Scrum right at halfway. Just a little to the left here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Time continues to wind down in this first half.
Pacific Coast, you really would like to get one on the board if you're the Grizzlies. Easier said than done. You want to play that New England Independence Red team as late tomorrow as possible. So seeding matters, even if they're both likely to get through.
Referee, a little discussion here with Trevion Reed. 6'1", 240. Georgetown, South Carolina. Played for the Charlotte Tigers. Big squeeze coming in from the Southeast, and they're going to get awarded the penalty out of that. 10 seconds in this half on the game clock. See what they do. Mussey comes in quick. Junior, 21-year-old.
All Queens front row, really great push there. I mean, especially in this all-star play, we talk about continuity. You talk about playing with guys that you're familiar with. That is incredibly important in the scrum. All three Queens players up front. Royals guys pushing it over. That is a national champion runner-up front row there. Queens had 2 props come here last year and get drafted into Major League Rugby out of this competition. Doyle Hedgepath getting picked up by Rugby New York. One of those guys. So Queens sees the value in this competition. Obviously their coach is coaching it and they got their whole front row here. That's quite an advantage, I've got to think, in the scrum down time.
And Tomas Mussey with a heck of a kick, bringing it down right to the 5-meter line. Marshall Frank to put this one in. They scored from this position earlier. Come down with it, no problem. Probably the weaker side back there. Advantage against, but going over the line they are, and try awarded. That's another try for the Southeast Bears. And look at the show they are putting on in tight.
Tails up for the Bears for sure. The General Bears mauling the Grizzlies at the moment. This is a short maul here. It looks like it got taken down potentially illegally, but it doesn't matter because the try scorer kept his feet, split right through there like a hot knife through butter, and plopped out on the other side of the try line for the Southeast Bears' second score.
For the big number 4, Matthew Beacom from Tennessee, playing in Knoxville. Now playing for the Southeast Bears. They take a lead here late in the first half. This may be the last action of this half. As Tomas Mussy steps up for this one.
Several Tennessee Volunteers on this lineup. It's their first year as part of National Collegiate Rugby. They joined with Southeast Collegiate Rugby Conference this season, moving into NCR. Doing quite well in the playoffs, University of Tennessee. And a bunch of guys enjoying some select side rugby this weekend down in Houston.
Mussy lines this one up. Blair's coming at him, but he strikes it all right, but it looks like it fades off to the right-hand side there. And referee has whistled for the end of the first half here. We're at 12-0. The Southeast Bears over the Grizzlies, the Pacific Coast. We'll be back in just a second with second half action.
Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been building, assembling, and strengthening. We've been cutting, shaping, and painting. We've created strength and beauty time and again. Our machines are made for one thing: the perfect hit. We are the crouch. We are the bind. We are the set. We are the squeeze. We are the hit. We are Rhino, home of the scrum.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks, bats, or gloves. We don't wear shoulder pads or helmets. We keep playing when it hurts, and we leave everything on the field. What we wear must be built for our game.
In our game, we play with our hearts. We don't play with sticks.
Welcome back to Aviva Stadium. From right to left on your screen, kicking off is going to be the Southeast Bears. They're in the lead 12-0 over the Pacific Coast Grizzlies in white, who are going to have to make up some ground. We got a ball. We're almost ready to play here at Next Level Rugby, bringing you all of this National Collegiate Rugby All-Star Shield action. Pat Clifton down just 12 here is Pacific Coast. We know they have some explosive players. What's been the difference for the Bears so far?
I think the Bears just maybe want this thing a little bit more. You know, Pacific Coast has won this title twice in the last 3 years, coming in as one of the favorites, the runner-up last year. Southeast has been an underdog. They've got more of these varsity players and programs participating this year, and I think they came to earn a lot of pride. And they both know they're going through to tomorrow, and it's about seeding at this point. And I think Southeast might just have wanted that first half a little bit more, but I'm guessing, you know, you get into a halftime huddle with Dave Bucky, and motivation's your problem. It won't be after.
First penalty against Southeast, so it's going to be Pacific Coast opportunity here at the lineout. They brought in Jason Whippy, wearing number 16 there. The very exciting Humboldt player from Santa Ana, California. Whippy finds his first line out. Ball comes across. Harrison Dahl into the scrum half position. Returning after the first couple of games. Dahl finds a runner. They're putting some big boys through right away. Pacific Coast senses the urgency that they're going to need. Dahl moves it out. Waiting a runner there. Van Wyck gets someone off to a player, comes in, and player is not supporting their weight for the Southeast, and they're certainly taking the direct route at the beginning of the second half, Pat.
Yeah, and they've made a couple of changes here. Van Wyck has moved down to fly half. It looks like he's taken the passes at first receiver. In the first half, that was Vio Imdalolose, Wayne State Wildcat. Traditionally plays fullback, so this Pacific Coast Grizzlies coaching staff, mentioned Dave Bucky earlier, Jeremy Ognall, Scott Bracken, some others involved there that decided, I think, to just shift some pieces around and see who can do what. But this second half, they made the change to put Milan Van Wyck back at first receiver, it looks like. At least he was in the last few phases. Put your best player in the position to touch the ball more is usually a good coaching strategy.
I believe they've brought Sam Brown back in as well. He's played some first receiver, so they got a 1-2 punch from those guys. Whippy, excuse me, put this one in. Whippy doesn't find his mark that time. Ball slips, but still in the hands of the Pacific Coast. Advantage coming for a penalty. Referee going to have a word here.
One of those NCR souvenir cards in his pocket. Let's see if he pulls it out. And no, Marshall Frank, you're going to have to buy your souvenir this trip.
The Hendersonville native.
Good to see Trevion Reed up and walking off the pitch on his own volition, even though he looks like he's got a bit of a shoulder injury. He's nursing potentially.
Referee letting Pacific Coast now that they're a bit closer than they thought they were. Ball may come up to big Tom Williams here, wearing number 3. And it does. A lot of man to take down. Southeast Bears accomplish that feat. Looking for some runners. Spin a little wide there. Nemo involved. Putting that little pass in. Ball comes across. Like Van Wyck there looking for some space. Didn't find it. Nemo again. Here comes Sam Brown into the game as a reserve. Claremont College fly half. Pick and go off the back there from Whippy. There's the big unit, Tom Williams. 6'4", 300-pounder out of Utah Valley University. Tackle in behind. Good work defensively by the Bears. Referee making sure that they stay on side. Van Wyck looking for this ball. Van Wyck gets it in a little drift. Pushes the ball out. Let's see if they can move it to the wing to Naranjo. Naranjo steps back in, and he is unafraid to take a good line. That is your man right there, Elijah Naranjo from New Mexico Tech. Touches down 5 points.
Mexico Tech, the Miners connecting there. Van Wyck on the inside. Naranjo on the outside. Really impressive movement there. Naranjo is just a fantastic player. I mentioned it a couple times. Sevens MVP last year as he led the Miners to a Sevens national championship along with Van Wyck. Lightning player out wide in 15s as well. The Pacific Coast team coming back into the second half with a much higher sense of urgency, sense of purpose. Maybe a few more of those first side players back on the pitch as well, in positions of familiarity.
No good in the kick, so it's 12-5. Southeast leads Pacific Coast. Just a converted try in it, 5 minutes gone in the second half. Here in beautiful Aviva Stadium, home of Major League Rugby's Houston SaberCats. And home of a lot of NCR rugby these days, Pat.
That's right, the national championships, the CRC 15s, hosted here in December. National championships here again a month later. Headed to DC for the Sevens championships this April, moving them up into the school window for the first time ever.
Ball knocked back there.
Friends and family in the stands there.
I thought that's what happened. Ball knocked on by the Southeast. We scrum here to Pacific Coast.
Pacific Coast has a long way to go here. Let's see what they opt to do. We're just barely into the second half, but these halves are not very long. So in a 15s match that's full length, you'd be sitting here worried about your time at this point, down just a score. So will they keep ball in hand, or will they still see territory as an option?
Southeast putting the squeeze on there with their scrum. Able to get away our Pacific Coast. Southeast on the defensive now at the 40. Ball sent back in from Dahl and Brown. Back in, we're waiting forward. Sorry, that was Naranjo. Penalty again against Southeast.
It's good season championship play here. No sense, I mean, you got the right sense of urgency. You have to have that, but no sense of panic from the Grizzlies. Taking your time. Make sure you put that ball out. We saw Southeast earlier in the first half take one of the quickest punts to touch ever and miss the touchline by a wide margin. A smart move there by Pacific Coast to measure twice before they cut once.
Taking a look at the other field here. Where it's Independence White versus Tri-State, the Foundry. But back to this game, Naranjo has been electric for this team. Trey Kersey, not always easy to bring down. Pressure coming in as Harrison Dahl moves that one away. Up into the hands of Seth Valance. Seth Valance brings it to the middle of the field, just about 42 meters out. Dahl again to Von Wyck. Von Wyck moves it wide quickly. This is a Whippy. He hands off one. Whippy puts in a short pass. Looking down that wing are the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Looking back for another penalty against the Southeast. This one for a high tackle. Penalty is just the undoing of this Bears team right now, Pat.
Yeah, that's right. Southeast, an unfortunate hamster wheel of doom. Need to find their discipline, find some patience. Realize that they're up. They still got a lead. There's no reason for them to play panicked. They're giving Pacific Coast an awful lot of opportunity at the moment.
Certainly have been. Ball to the front this time for Pacific. They go to Williams. Big man gets things started for them. Another penalty. Player coming off their feet for the Southeast. And this has got to result in a card eventually.
Yeah, we saw him have a little chat earlier to Marshall Franks. You kind of felt the referee had a little bit of an indecision moment where he couldn't decide whether he wanted to go to the pocket or not. Decided not to. But they're mounting at this point.
Von Wick gets this one going quickly, gets it up to Williams. Williams going to find some ground as ever. Puts the ball up there to Uwippy. Working his way towards the line. Up to the left-hand side they go. Pardon me. Ball to Brown. And fighting their way towards the line they come. Dahl moves to Von Wick. Von Wick finds a runner in the middle of the field. Little handoff there. Working their way across are the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Von Wick, there's a man you want to have a hold of the ball. It is him, but it's beaten back by the Southeast Bears. Shot taken there for Ben Waters, but he's able to get. Sorry, it wasn't Ben Waters. It was Chase Piatti. He's able to get that one down.
Some tough running there by Sean Munemo, Wayne State Wildcat, playing flanker. Good pressure applied by the Grizzlies, but they're going to have to wait to convert it to points. There isn't
Spiatti back
much
up.
better tandem I'd rather have in a counterattack returning here than Naranjo and Van Wyck.
Spiatti, the Rio Grande player from Charlotte. Long high kick, but it drifts across field there. Good opportunity here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. A big barrel and run coming in from that man right there, Chase Basson, but he can't find the line. Spending some time in the bin in the first half. Oh, moves this one out to Williams. Williams gets up all the way. Williams, if that pass was good, it's a try. Seth Valance. Seth Valance scores that one. A couple different numbers here, so my apologies, but Valance, great try from a Tom Williams offload.
Just a couple of really strong carries. That's Munemo. We called him out on their last trip to the 22. He's doing some hard yards again. And then Williams with a big carry and a cheeky little offload. Not sure how he squeezed that one off, but he did, and Valance cashed it in.
Valance, the Wayne State player from Hartbeespoort, South Africa.
Sometimes brute force is all you need. And it worked that time in short distance for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Real bear fight we got going on here. Just what you'd expect between a Grizzly and a group of General Bears, John.
I knew we'd get it sooner or later. It's Grizzlies versus every other kind of bear, Pat. It's a very interesting...
all at once.
interesting battle. And that kick is good, so we are tied at 12 here with it's about 7 minutes to go. Player getting looked at here. So it'll take just a second. We'll kick off.
Maybe the best match we've had the pleasure of calling so far today, John. Two really good teams. Pacific Coast woke up in the second half, and both of these teams really want a result going after it. Southeast seems to be reeling a bit. They got a player down, having some discipline issues. All the momentum seems to be in Pacific Coast direction, but as you know, in rugby, one kickoff, one bounce of the ball can switch that in an instant.
Medical staff here at the stadium going to go take a look. After this, we're going to have Independence Red versus Great Lakes Thunderbirds. That'll be our last game of the day here in the stadium field. Mid-Atlantic will play Midwest on field number 1. Right now, it's Independence White and Tri-State Foundry over on field 1. Player up and coming off his own accord, which is good. He's okay. Southeast gets us going again right outside the 22. Player tried to kick it away, but turns into a knock-on advantage here for the Southeast Bears. Who decided to do it? They're going to put big Marshall Frank in charge of the ball. Marshall Frank outside the 22-meter line. First receiver stepping in there was Fussell. Haven't seen too much of him so far this game, but working in an important moment there. As they come with Fussell, Belmont Abbey player, sports management major. Southeast again, Marshall Frank, a little tip pass. Doesn't come to much. The Bears going to be able to recycle this ball. Might have been better to do to get the scrum they had on offer just a little while ago. Fussell puts the pass in. It's rolling towards the touchline. Working their way backwards to their 40-meter line are the Southeast Bears. Need to get a little go forward here.
They got numbers out wide if they can manage to connect.
Great turnover by the Grizzlies.
Southeast had numbers out wide for a few phases there. A little slow to recognize it. They kept running it back into the teeth of the defense one too many times. They get turned over. You had Jason Whippy in the Grizzlies back line. He looked left and right and saw way too much real estate for himself to cover. He was quite vociferously calling for some teammates to come out, but the Bears couldn't spin it wide quickly enough to take advantage. So now we've got the Pacific Coast Grizzlies trying to snatch back the momentum after that kickoff right off the turnover.
Whippy goes long, gets the ball up to the try-score. Valance. Big run coming in here from Brandon Bachman. Bachman reserve in the team here. Doug Barnes. Douglas Barnes gets to the 22. Pacific Coast would love to close this out. Brown to Von Wick. Von Wick cuts back in. On out to that left-hand side, looking for Tom Williams, and have found him. They're across the 22. They've got numbers out here. Let's see what they can do. Von Wick gets it down to Brown. Brown looking for a runner. Brown finds a connection. They're looking at the try line. They're a couple of meters away. Here come the Grizzlies. Raising his hand is Bachman. Bachman runs into Frank. Clash of the Titans right there. Coming across into the hands of Barnes again. Some of these big replacements here for Pacific Coast. Certainly putting in the work. Here's a Whippy. Whippy's got good footwork for a fella his size. Sneaks it away to Valance. We've seen this before. And Seth Valance gets number 2 in a row. And Pacific Coast takes the lead late.
Cal Poly Humboldt offloading there to Valance from Wayne State.
Wayne State.
Pacific Coast really lethal up here, nice and tight. Jason Whippy evading one tackle, soaking up 2 more defenders before slipping that pass off to Valance. The Saffer up in Wayne State, Cummings County, beef country. He's bringing the beef to the Bears between the posts, taking the lead. Pacific Coast Grizzlies, the comeback kids. We saw them come back in their first game of the day, down by just a try in that one, down by 2 in this one. But the Grizzlies have been impressive in their comeback bid.
They benefited from the beef there. That was Tom Williams and another few other big boys, Brandon Bachman, Doug Barnes, and then a Whippy getting the ball up there to Valance. All he had to do was touch that one down. Great work to be in the right place. But the beneficiary, any number of big boys, and that one is good. We're at 19-12. Barely any time to play. These Southeast Bears need to do something to bring themselves back in here.
Wayne State is a great example of these new programs. You know, Principia is another one, Siena, who have really started to pump up their international recruiting. And it's really a driver for enrollment for the school and for enrollment dollars, and it's really benefited the rugby program. And not just in bringing in foreign players and letting them beat Americans, but play alongside them. We see a guy like Javier Luong playing for the Midwest Barbarians as a scrum half, playing with guys like Valance and Indololose from all over the world, from top-tier rugby playing countries, makes them better. And I think this competition is a really good example of how that all works together to really improve the standard of American rugby.
Big kick back down into their zone and hauled into touch are the Southeast Bears. Good pressure, great kick from Brown. And down deep in their own end are the Southeast Bears. Looking at it right here, 4 or 5 seconds on the game clock. We'll see how much referee's time there is.
Pacific Coast controls this thing. Be interested to see if they decide to go for the try, if they've got a line set call that they're going to try and execute, or if they're just going to bury this thing into go into victory kneels, if you will, the victory formation, and kneel this thing down. Spoke too early because you have to win the line out before you can do that.
Certainly do. And it's a free kick here for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. See, I'm sure Von Wick will be discussing the time with the referees if he can. I'm sure he'd love to just kick this one in a touch. Boys may still want to play. I'm sure the coaching staff would be happy to get them back to the hotel. They're going to play.
Speed time on the clock.
Williams takes a few townsfolk with him.
It's not elegant, but it's effective. Tom Williams, that man from short yardage. You give him a few minutes to catch his breath, get his legs underneath him, and he's William Refrigerator Perry in the 1985 Chicago Bears, carrying all the New England Patriots across the goal line on his back. Great run from that young man. Optimal opportunity for him. Give me a few seconds to gather my wits. Then everyone thinks that Lawnman Wick is going to tap and run this thing. Then I get it, and I just have to run through a few guys. Easy money for Tom Williams. Great comeback for the Pacific Coast Grizzlies, scoring 4 unanswered tries to beat the Southeast Bears.
He is, as we said, 6'4", 300-pound man right there. He's an education major. I'm sure he's going to have the most disciplined classroom in the school. I'm not sure who's going to want to talk back to the big fella. And Williams scores a great try there. And this may be the final action of this game. We said we're going to have Independent Red versus Great Lakes coming up.
Impressive run there from Tom. Utah Valley, what an addition they have been, and their Wolverines and players to this competition, International Collegiate Rugby. Really stretching the footprint west and presenting great opportunities for them to step on a stage like this and raise their hand for higher honors and really get developed and enjoy a rich playing experience.
And that kick is no good. I think we have another play coming here. Referee is handing the ball to a kicker, so Southeast, another opportunity here. We'll see if he discussed with the Pacific Coast players that this could be the final play of the game. Pardon me. Comes Southeast, a little delayed run there, delayed pass from Barnes. On the way, continuing to pick and go the Pacific Coast Grizzlies. Brown knows it's time to get this over with, so he launches the ball towards touch. 24-12, Pacific Coast is going to be the Southeast Bears. Second to last game of the day here on Stadium Field. We're going to come back. It is going to be the Thunderbirds of the Great Lakes taking on Independent Red in Pool A. We'll be back on the hour with that. Stay tuned.
Since 1979, we've been searching for perfection. We've been thinking, sketching, and designing. We've been